Okay, so hi everyone. My name's Jessica and I'm a third year PhD student at the University of Glasgow School of Veterinary Medicine and Scotland's Rural College. And I'm going to talk today about three things that I wish I knew before I started my PhD. Now, they're three quite different topics, but I feel like they're all equally as important. So first of all, taking the time to get settled in and not putting too much pressure on yourself at the start. Adopting a good work-life balance and learning to accept that you need to take time off. And thirdly, what to do when you're feeling a bit overwhelmed and you need support. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about these in three statements that you may tell yourself throughout your PhD. So the first one is, I need to know everything as soon as possible, otherwise I'm not good enough. So first of all, though, why was it that you chose to do your PhD in the first place? Was it to develop your research skills, improve your employability, or to delve deeper into the topic that you're really interested in? The kind of main reason that you probably did your PhD was to learn. So now think back to when you started maybe a hobby, whether it was an activity, a sport, or just any kind, or even a craft or something that you joined. Were you an expert when you first started it? The answer is probably no. And this also applies to a PhD. So why is it that when we start the PhD, we seem to think that we have to know everything at the beginning? You may, when you first start your PhD, especially for the first 6 months, ask yourself a lot of these questions. It can be a really, really daunting time. And you feel as if you might think, I can't do this. Was this the right choice for me? What if I'm not good enough? And this is imposter syndrome. And it's something that, unfortunately, the majority of academics experience. And it's not nice, it's not enjoyable, but it's something that you kind of have to learn to live with. But they will begin to subside the further you get into your PhD and the more you kind of delve into your subject and the more you understand. So some of the things that you can do when you first start your PhD to kind of minimize the feelings of imposter syndrome are things like read articles related to your subject every week. It could even be, like a website. There might be a website and you look at the page, like read a page of it. You watch videos on YouTube related to the subject, or like me, print off papers, highlight them, make notes all over them. Just make sure that you're doing this at least once a week so that you're continuously building your knowledge. Also, what can help is creating a mind map of different topics within your subject. So I'm researching a disease in dairy cattle. So what I did was I broke down like the symptoms, the diagnosis, routes of transmission, treatment, and then go through those and tick them off as you go. And you can kind of start to visualize how much you've learned as well. But also, and more importantly, actually speak with your supervisors and make them aware of your current understanding and knowledge of the subject. And then you can create a plan of your kind of learning over your PhD and then keep revisiting it to make sure that you're actually progressing. But the main thing is to try and find something that works for you. And hopefully it will try and minimize your feelings of imposter syndrome because it's not nice. The second statement is, I don't work hard enough and therefore I don't have time to take a break. First of all, that statement's nonsense. Don't tell yourself that. If you're already thinking that, just try and push it to the side. It's so easy when you start your PhD and all throughout it to think that you have to constantly be working and you can become so obsessed with it to the point that you do nothing else other than eat and sleep. And even sometimes eating and sleeping is minimized as well. But you need to reset your battery, otherwise your brain begins to slip up and you'll also overwork yourself. So try and stick to working hours through the week. Try and make sure that you have your evenings off, weekends off. But I also accept that and understand that, sometimes you may have experiments that maybe run in the morning, they run overnight or over the weekends. But outside of these times, make sure that you do have like working hours and rest hours. And the kind of beauty of a PhD as well is that you can adjust your work pattern to suit you. So we're essentially our own boss, within reason, obviously. So, if you're an early bird, then get up, start early and finish early. Or if you're a night owl, start later and finish a bit later. You might even find that you work really well in the morning and really well in the evening. So just take a bit of time off in the middle of the day. Do stuff that suits you, and you'll find that you'll progress a lot better that way. Also, you could try time blocking. So this is when you set times, maybe 15 minutes in the morning to read emails, an hour in the day to do some writing, 2 hours to do some reading. Block everything off, and then it makes you more productive because you're not just sitting with a blank canvas thinking, what am I doing this week or what am I doing today? So it can really help to do this. And I also actually need to listen to myself because I'm not very good at time blocking either. But what you've got to remember is productivity is a wave. So you will have good days, good weeks, bad weeks, and sometimes good months and really bad months too. And that's okay because we all experience it. And just try and kind of ride it out, and hopefully you'll then come back out in your kind of good times and, being more productive. But do remember that lots of people go through this. And if you are in a blip where you're not getting anywhere, chances are everyone's been through that as well. Another thing to do is make sure that you take breaks during your workday. So, whether it's joining societies and clubs, attend coffee mornings, journal clubs, get to know even the staff in the lab that you're in, your research team or your department, so that when it's, coffee time, even if you don't drink tea or coffee, go for a coffee break with people and talk to people about things other than your work. And then you can go to lunch with them as well. Another thing that can be really good is joining outreach programs, which is something that I do just because I'm based as well, not in Glasgow, so it's not as easy for me to join a lot of clubs. So outreach programs can be a really good thing as well. But just make a point to push yourself. And I know that during COVID and, with the kind of working from home and things, it's not as easy to meet people and you can feel quite isolated. But just push yourself. You've got nothing to lose. And chances are the people that you try and talk to, they're going through it as well. And they'll really be thankful for someone reaching out to them and saying, hey, I don't really know you, but would you like to go for a coffee, during the break? So, just push yourself. There we go. Also, have a personal life. So from this slide, you can tell that I enjoy farming, and that's my cockerel in the photo at the top left. I throw birthday parties for my dogs because I don't have anything better to do. I experiment making things like plum gin. I regularly go clay pigeon shooting. At the lab that my PhD is based at, we're having a British Bake Off competition, and you can probably imagine I didn't win with my terrifying hedgehog cake. And I also enjoy just spending time with friends. So I am not just my PhD. And that is something that you really need to tell yourself. Your PhD is a part of you, but it doesn't define you. You have a life outside of your PhD. So do remember that. And make sure just to spend time with friends, get to know people, take up hobbies, even things like going for a night out, go to the pub, window shopping because we're students, we can't afford actual shopping, go to the cinema, go for long walks, explore the city, just do things that aren't to do with your work. And also, this is really important if you're a desk-based researcher or if you work from home, make sure that you get at least 30 minutes outside every day. It's very easy to just finish your work, shut your laptop and go and sit and watch TV all day, or all evening, should I say. But make sure that you just get outside, even if you're walking to the shop to get snacks, to go and binge watch the next program on Netflix, make sure that you're getting some time outside because you really will regret it and you'll start to feel all kind of cooped up inside. And if you're going to take anything away from my talk, please let it be this one slide to take your annual leave. Take all of your available annual leave. Like I know so many people that we just didn't do it. For the first year and a half of my PhD, I didn't take time off. I didn't have a full week where I didn't think of my PhD, and it really took a toll on me. So make sure that you take time off. Take days here and there, but also make sure that you at least get like a block, whether it's a week or 2 weeks, so that whole time you shut your laptop, you don't look at it, you don't respond to emails, you do nothing to do with your PhD. As far as you're concerned, you're not a PhD student in that time. Just take the time off. And also, don't get caught up in competition with your peers as to who does the most work and who takes the least holidays, because that will happen as well. Just focus on you and only you, because it's not healthy for anyone. It doesn't help. Just make sure that you take your time off. And then the third statement that I want to talk about is that I'm struggling and I don't know what to do. So your PhD spans over a long period of time, and especially if you're doing it part-time, it'll be even longer. So it's very common within this time to have periods of time, where you're just not feeling happy. It could be, days, weeks, months, it's normal and it happens. And there's not a lot you can do about it apart from make sure that you actually go and speak to someone. So it could be that your work is impacting you, and it could be that you've failed an experiment, you've not got a good relationship with your supervisors and they're not supporting you, or you've maybe missed a deadline that you were supposed to submit something. And this can all take a toll on you and make you feel like you're not getting anywhere, you're not progressing, and that you just maybe don't feel good enough. And then on the other hand, we kind of forget that we have a home life outside of a PhD. So you could have anything from a loss of a relationship, or a breakdown in a relationship, a loss of a family member, poor health, financial struggles, very big changes to your home life. We're all human and things can happen from at home that we can't control. So do be aware that, these things can impact you, and that's okay. But there are things that you can do about this. So as it's kind of advertised everywhere when we talk about mental health and struggling, the first step is admitting that you need some support. Make sure that you do that. And once you do, it's like a huge weight off your chest, because that's the first step to making sure that you're going to start feeling happier again. Then speak to someone that you can trust. It could be your supervisors, because at the end of the day, they're there to support you. But if you don't feel like you can speak to them, it could be a colleague in the research team or the lab that you work in, another postgraduate student. It could even be, if you do postgraduate teaching, that it's a lecturer that you can confide in. Make sure that you speak to someone, because then you have someone aware of what you're going through. But if you don't feel like you're maybe at the stage where you can actually speak to someone that you know yet, there are alternatives that you can do. So as a student at the University of Glasgow, we all have a free membership to Togetherall. And this is a safe space online where you can talk to people anonymously. I actually didn't know about this, and in doing this presentation, I've actually now joined Togetherall, and it's great. I really recommend it to everyone. It's really easy to get registered, and you can speak about all different topics. The university also offers counselling and psychological services, so you can refer yourself for a consultation, and they also provide self-help resources, which you can access at any time, and they're on a variety of different kind of things you could be going through. They also offer workshops, and I think there's potentially, I've seen 4 different topics, but I know that one of them is the imposter syndrome, and one is also about perfectionism. So I recommend looking at those through the research development programme as well. There's also a peer wellbeing support. So this is a student-led listening service, and you can talk to someone and share your problems, and you can get some support for this as well. There are other resources that you can access as well if you maybe don't feel like you want to fully go through the university. The Samaritans free phone, so you can phone them at any time of day, any day of the week, and speak to someone. There's also the Glasgow Students Nightline, and I think they operate certain nights during the week, so you would need to double check, and you can speak to them about anything from, I don't know what building my class is in tomorrow, to more serious kind of sensitive topics. And also remember, you can speak to your local GP. You can phone up and have an appointment if you really feel as if you're struggling and this is what you want to do. But the main thing I would also say is do try and make someone at the university aware, because at the end of the day, we are, you're a student with the University of Glasgow, so they want to support you and they want to make sure that we're all doing okay. So make sure that someone knows, even if it's just one person. But also as well, don't wait until things get worse. No one's immune to this, and chances are everyone's gone through struggles at some point. And the main thing as well is don't suffer in silence. So do make sure you speak to someone. And as I said, do try and make sure that the university are aware in some way, so that they can at least support you. Because it may be that it slightly impacts your work as well. And if they're aware, then things can be done to make sure that it's not going to have too much of an impact. So to summarise, take your time getting settled in. You're not going to be an expert on day one, so don't expect it. You know, it's a learning process, so you'll eventually become the expert, but you're not going to be on the first day or even within the first year. Adopt a good work-life balance. Take your annual leave. Please take all of your annual leave. Just don't think that you don't need it, because you do. You really do. And also seek support if you need it. Don't feel ashamed about it, and it'll help in the long run. And I mean, at the end of the day, we're here to learn and develop as researchers. So don't put too much pressure on yourself, and just try and enjoy your time here. It'll probably be some of the most stressful years of your life so far, but really, really rewarding. So thank you very much.